Okay, Bob Murphy here. This is the beginning, kind of the beginning of my math, finance, social justice-y videos. Uh, this video is for people that are really, really rusty. Where does this formula come from? This is a common version of a compound interest rate formula. And what we're going to do, what I'm going to show you, hopefully to help people that are not comfortable with math, I want to show you what we're going to do is we're going to derive this thing. We're just going to do a little numerical example. And hopefully, ideally, be like, oh, yeah, I understand this. I could use this anytime. But at least I want you to get to the point where I go, okay, I can use it's all right. Okay, I can use it. And I want you to at least get a little comfortable. And now what I need to do is I need to go to shared screen and look at all that stuff. Woo. Okay. All right, I am screen sharing. Now, real quick, what I'm showing you, these are notes that I used in my high school last year. This goofy header up here. This is in the middle of teaching class. There were 8 pages of notes over this 2 days. We did a block schedule thing. So this right here, this GO 1 of 8, I'm just trying to explain. This is the assignment for the kids. Don't worry about that. Now, what I want to do is we're going to look at this whole derive thing. And so what we're going to first do is suppose you have $100 and you invest it and you get 10% a year. How much will it be worth in 1 year, 2 years, and in 3 years at T years? Okay, so what we're looking for is a general formula, and I'm going to walk you through the algebra that builds up to that compound interest formula. All right. And so we're using a simple formula. I'm sorry, a simple example, not because I think you're stupid. I think it's easier. I found my years of teaching. Let's use an example that's, we can we don't get distracted by all the algebra, right? 10% of $100 is $10. Bada bing. Now, let's turn that into algebra, all right? So I'm going to start in year 1. I've got this $100, plus I'm getting 10% of $100. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep rewriting this stuff, all right? And I want to draw your attention to this yellow underline, this double pink underline, and this triple green underline, okay? Keep that in the back of your head. Now, we start out in this first year, and I've got $100, and I get 10% of 100. Now, remember that 10% is a decimal is 0.1. And what I'm going to do right along here is I'm going to keep rewriting things. I'm going to say, okay, so I have $100 times 1 plus 10% times 0.1. And then I'm going to do a little bit of high school algebra. I'm going to take the distributive property, but I'm going to reverse it. And I'm going to say, oh, wait a minute, I can write this all as 100 times 1 plus 0.1. So 100 times 1 plus 0.1. Well, the 1 plus 0.1 gets turned into a 1.1. So I have 100 times 1.1 equals $110, right? Start of the year with $100, we got 10% interest. At the end of the year, we have $110. Bada bing. Now, what happens on year 2? Well, I start year 2 with $110. And then I get 10% interest again. And so what I'm going to do in this year 2, I'm going to actually do exactly what I did up in year 1. I'm going to say, okay, 110 times 1 plus 110 times 0.1 is then turns equal with a distributive property going backwards is 110 times 1 plus 0.1. Now I'm going to add 1 plus 0.1. So I have 110 times 1.1 equals $121. Now, actually, you guys, I kind of just did this in my head, right? what's 10% of $110? That's $11. Yeah, 10% of $110 is $11. 110 plus 11 is 121 bucks. Oh, look at that. Now, I honestly, I played around a little bit with the next lesson after this, when I have all this stuff uploaded, is going to be how to use a calculator to make sure that you can use your calculator correctly. Should I have done that before this? Yeah, whatever. You got to make these decisions and you live with it, right? Now, year 3. So I end year 2 with $121. Year 3, I start with $121, and I'm going to get 10% of that. Now, 10% of 121 is $12.10. And I have to do this calculation on the side. I'm in my 60s, and I'm like, yeah, let me add that up. But look at algebraically, I did 121 times 1 plus 121 times 0.1 equals 121 times 1 plus 0.1 equals 121 times 1.1 equals $133.10. So if I start with $100, I'm going to get 10% interest a year for the next 3 years on that $100. I'm going to end up with $133.10. All right, now life's a lot more complicated than this little piddly example. And so what we're going to do is let's work backwards to derive a faster general formula. So I'm reading these notes, not because oh, you're all dumb. No, I'm reading the notes because my writing sucks. And I want to make sure that you're reading it correctly. All right. So I'm starting with $133.10, and that equaled $121 times 1.1. Now, the 121 equaled this big mess. Remember that? Yeah, remember 121 equaled this thing? So I flipped that around. So 133.1 equals 121 times 1.1. Now I'm going to substitute 121 equals 110 times 1.1. I'm going to substitute that 121. I'm going to substitute this piece right here. So I have 133 equals 110 times 1.1 times 1.1. Oh my God. Now remember that 110 equaled $100 times 1.1. So I'm going to take this little piece, I'm going to substitute it in there, right? So I've substituted the yellow and the yellow 1 underline and the 2 underlined pink. I've substituted them in, and I'm going to have 133.1 equals 100 times 1.1 times 1.1 times 1.1. And notice I wrote little ones up there. That's exponents, okay? And I need a little recall. In college math, when a professor says recall, that means like, ooh, you're supposed to know this. And in case you don't know it, I'm going to show you real quick. If I multiply x times x times x, it's really x to the 1 power times x to the 1 power times x to the 1 power. Rules of exponents, you add those exponents when you're multiplying, which is x to the 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals x cubed. Okay. Now, the reason I had that recall is because I wanted to show you I can write 133.1 equals 100 times 1.1 raised to the 3rd power. Now, we're not going to a calculator just yet. That'd be the next video after this. I don't want these videos to be too long. And using 1.1 equals, all right, recall 1.1 equals 1 plus 0.1. So what I did was I expanded that formula. I flipped it around, right? We could do that with equal signs. People forget that all the time. this garbage equals that garbage. Weep. So we flip them around, and I have 100 times the quantity 1 plus 0.1 raised to the third power equals 133.1. And that turns into this formula that I started the lesson out with. P times the quantity 1 plus R quantity raised to the T power equals FV. And again, I'm going to read the words that I wrote. The starting amount is the principal. So a lot of people use P. And then 1 plus this little r, that's the interest rate per year. Okay. And then T is the time period. So we have 3 years, 3 time periods. And then we have the end amount or the final value. The P and the FV are used a lot in the finance world of math. Okay. Now, and notice some notes down here. In our example, we compounded interest and we did it for 3 years, 1 year at a time. And that was called annual compounding. There's some more on that screen. I'm going to stop there. So I've done 3 pages. Okay, now I'm going to stop the share. Boom. And that's where this formula comes from. For math weirdos, we did not actually derive it. For normal people, hopefully, if you go through that a couple times, and here's the thing, if you write down what I wrote down, just pause the stupid video, write it down with your own little hand on a piece of paper with some pencil. I swear I taught this stuff for over 10 years, over 10,000 classes in general, but I mean, not all 10,000 classes were this stuff. Thousands of students. I think I had some success for some of them. Please just practice it. Okay. End of